You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for Modern Family. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Modern Family news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AfterBuzz TV for Modern Family.
Oh, good evening. Where have you been? Where have you been all my life? Where have you been these past few weeks? I am Mario, AfterBuzz TV. This is the Modern Family podcast. Still Mario. Nothing's changed in the last few seconds. In the booth, we have
DJ Jesse Janedy.
Jesse.
What up, AfterBuzzers?
Yeah. So Modern Family. Sorry, folks. We've been kind of off the grid for a couple of weeks.
Well, Modern Family goes off the grid.
And Modern Family goes off the grid, and they're going to be off the grid
again
for the next few weeks through the first week in January. But we are here now, and we're here to discuss the Express Christmas episode, the 10th episode of this, the 3rd season.
Which was last week's episode.
Which was last week's episode.
Apologize coming to you late, but we're here.
But
that's
you know,
it's
the holidays, and it's actually, by the way, the show is actually set today, December 16th.
Oh, very.
So we are right on target, actually.
Ooh, every day is December 16th.
Every day is, especially December 16th, is definitely December 16th.
Well, right. Go
right.
us.
That's like a broken clock is right twice a day.
That's a very positive way of looking at it.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we're here to discuss Modern Family, and what an episode. Jesse, what did you think of the episode? What were your overall
I love
takeaways?
This episode. I mean, honestly, with Modern Family, it's just like every episode, I'm like, oh, this was the best episode. Never has there been a show where I can't think of a bad episode of Modern Family. There have been ones that are better than others.
Sure.
But I can't look at one. There's never a time where I just can't watch the whole thing. And I sit through it all. Every character on this is just amazing. And this episode was awesome because we all go through this. And it's funny, the older we get, holidays have really changed. You know, I remember being younger, like Christmas was the thing. Like it was all like, there's no way you would miss Christmas. There's no possible way. And, you know, now this being my first year across country, there was a chance that I was going to miss Christmas. And it really blew my mind and kind of took a bang back. Like, wow, I'm growing up.
Where are you from originally?
Boston.
Ah, okay. Okay, so very different.
Yes.
L.A. Christmas is very different than Boston
Very
Christmas.
much. But I am going back, so I'm very excited about that.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, this whole Express Christmas, always trying to make things happen, I think that is definitely... It's 2011. This is what people are doing now, and I think Modern Family hit it. This is the Modern Family.
Well, you know, the show starts off with something that is very unique, obviously, to Southern California, and I assume parts of Hawaii, maybe Texas, maybe Florida. And that is that it is warm here.
Yeah.
It is very, you know, it's holiday times. The joke that I like to say is, if you've ever seen Lethal Weapon, you know how crazy it gets around the holidays around here. And so it's you know, there's no snow, obviously, because it's Southern California, where the weather is, you know, today it was, you know, 80 degrees or something. But, you know, for most of the country, including the Northeast, you know, where you're from, it's a white Christmas, and it's snowing, and it's cold, and it's this whole thing. So, you know, there is that traditional Christmas feel to it. You know, what Americans celebrate as Christmas is actually, you know, from Scandinavia. You know, is Scandinavian in nature, with the trees and kind of, you know, that whole appropriation for Christ's birthday was mixed in with the winter solstice from Scandinavian countries. So, you know, even that is kind of appropriated from another culture. And so, as this country wwent out west, yeah, it's harder to kind of celebrate. It's like
it's harder to feel it. Like I don't feel Christmas is next week.
Right.
On the East Coast, you get the cold weather, the snow comes, and really the only time anyone on the East Coast loves the snow is on Christmas. I'm actually really excited. I hope it does snow. I hope it snows before I get there so I can enjoy the snow.
So you get there and the snow's already there.
I want it already there.
And then
for me. And then stop. And then let me come back, and it'll be nice and warm, and my Christmas would have been great.
Right.
And unfortunately, snow loves to be very loves to be a bitch, and so it'll probably snow as my plane is like in Chicago or something, and
slow you down, delay.
It'll be so
that's how it goes.
Merry Christmas.
But here in California, and whatever holiday you're celebrating, I mean, it's it's Hanukkah, it's Kwanzaa, it's everything, but it's different out here because it's frankly no different. It's less warm, but it's still not cold. In the evening times, it can get a little cold and chilly. We just had rain for a few hours the other day, and that certainly cooled things off. But it's different in Southern California. So on the show, the Dumfies and the the whole family, the whole crew was trying to get they realized that they were going to go off to the far corners. They were going to either go to Mexico, or they were not going to be able to spend time together, and so they put together an
express Christmas.
Express Christmas to just kind of quickly, put everything together. Have you always lived near Boston?
Yeah, New York and Boston.
Okay.
So I've always had cold Christmases.
Right. And you were always able to go home.
Travel back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I went to school. I grew up in South Texas, and then I went to school on the East Coast in Washington, and then after that I was in New York. So yeah, the whole home for the holidays thing, I've done that, and it's for me it was only cold Christmases and the holidays when I stayed in the area. South Texas is warm, although it does get cold as well at night. But
so you've never really truly experienced a real cold Christmas?
No. I have. We grew up. We lived in a suburb of Chicago for a few years when I was younger, and I didn't go home every year for the holidays. Sometimes either just economics or just
because New York is a great place to spend Christmas.
Oh, absolutely. And I've actually been there when it's been warm during the holidays, and I remember one year we wore T-shirts on New Year's.
Oh,
so it was unseasonably warm. And that was cool. But yeah, obviously there's, New York's got the tree and the people, the ice skating rinks, and, people are, generally.
It's just a smell in the air.
Yeah,
and
really
I know
is.
that sounds weird because you don't smell it out here, but there really is. I think it's like the coldness, or you can smell the snow coming, or it just it makes you merry.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a crisp. It's somehow it lights up your senses when you first step out.
That's very true.
And it's cold. And it's sharp, and it hits, and you're all bundled up, but your face feels it. It's a very bracing but really nice feeling, and especially if you go out to parks or you go ice skating or whatever. No, it's definitely nice. That said, I don't miss it. I'm a warm weather person, so my fiance is from Detroit, from the Midwest, so she too is into white Christmases, and she loves like the sweaters and the apple cider and all that. The layers. I'm over that. I'm done. I think I'm gonna try to keep it warm for quite a while. We'll see when the next time. But holidays are always, and in Modern Family, they showed the essence of, obviously they had to do it for sitcom form. So rather than have them come home for the holidays or whatever, they condensed it. And what a great plot device to say an express Christmas.
Oh, absolutely.
So that way they're able to jam the storyline into 4 hours or whatever it is, 3 hours, and kind of show the best and the worst things about Christmas or about the holidays.
Amazing. They hit every nail. And it amazes me because, obviously we only get 30 minutes, which we don't even get a full 30 minutes of it. But they hit the Target scene was epic. Because that's what you do. You do all of your shopping in one day. Me personally.
I did too.
I don't ever there are people like, oh, it's September, I've already finished. Why are you thinking about that? You're disgusting.
Yeah.
This isn't Joann's Fabric. I used to work at Joann's Fabric.
You had people coming in super early?
Well, in September, we'd be already planning for Christmas. And then June, we're already planning for Halloween. It's just like, it really screws with your senses. So so I have met people who do things like that. My family were very, yeah, it's like the week before and we're out rushing around. You just get everybody done in one day. You might have to pick up that one or two at the end, but it's definitely that Target scene definitely hit me at home.
You also get a lot of course, now with online shopping, you know, you can do everything.
I don't do that.
You don't?
I can't get into it. I don't know. I want to because I feel like it's easier, but then I get indecisive and I just don't feel. I enjoy going to the store and just grabbing and shopping that way.
Yeah.
Versus the online thing. If it's something specific, maybe I will, but I haven't. I've tried it, but no, I always end up going out.
Yeah.
I pull the Target.
And of course, you know, this year, I was actually very surprised when I saw this episode. Actually, interesting story. I was walking down the street in Culver City, which is near where I live, and I happened to see them filming Modern Family. I saw the car with Sofia Vergara and what is his name? Nolan Gould, who play Luke and Gloria. And I saw them in the car together. So they were filming the camera car. And actually, I was surprised. Now I realize why as I'm watching it. They had the blue van behind them, which was like a catering truck or something. Right. I thought it was like a catering truck that was following them around. I was like, oh, in case they get hungry, I guess. And it's like, no, it's for continuity in the shot. And of course, it's the plot point when they run over the tree and run over the angel. It's that truck has to be behind them, that blue truck. So anyway, I had seen them film driving down the street. And I saw them pull over and get the shot ready. And so I could see through the window that it was Sophia and Nolan, and I thought, oh, that's interesting because they usually don't see the two of them together. I don't think we've ever seen them, just the two of them. And I thought, okay, well, how are they going to get that? And so then we saw this episode, and even the Target. The Target is in the Westfield Shopping Center over in Culver City.
That's a huge Target.
That is. It's yeah.
I mean, that was I was in awe of that. I watched the episode last week and seeing that Target, like where I'm from. I mean, New York. Everyone thinks like, oh no, there's tons of stores in New York. Like the stores are smaller in New York. Yeah. Because they have to fit them in, like the malls like go up. Right. So it's not like we have these like large, huge 3-story malls. Yeah, our mall may be like 4 to 5 stories, but it's in a tiny little building going up.
And there's no Target in Manhattan. There's a Target in Brooklyn.
Right. Or you have to go to Washington Heights. Right. It's like, so it's like, screw Target. No one's going to Target. Right. No one's traveling all the way over there. So to see that, it was like, wow, that's an amazing Target. Big Target, especially since there's actually another Target about 4 blocks away. So I don't understand it.
Yeah. Well, it's like Starbucks in New York. It was like
and Bank of America
and Bank of America's and Chase and yeah. But
I love the groupings though. I think it's funny because with Claire and her daughter, we see them, but always see them in
they're always antagonistic.
Exactly.
They're always at each other, and there's always. So it was nice to see her, and that they say that they say if you've ever read any parenting or you're supposed to make an ally and really kind of hone in on. You're supposed to make an ally of your kid and really hone in on their talents and help them use their talent. To use that as a way of connecting and as a way of getting them.
You were born for this.
You were born for this, and it's true. It's Target and shopping, and it's pretty. It's smart parenting, which Claire is not always doing. Because she's very authoritarian and she's very kind of my way or the highway. So she saw a way to kind of get Haley on board with her, and it's pretty cool.
I mean, just from like the little scenes of Haley to be like at the beginning, Claire said you were born for this, and Claire was about to push forward, and Haley stops her saying no, this way. Just little things like that. Honestly, like when I do comedy as well, but when I watch things, I don't really laugh out loud. I'm like one of those people, like I'll watch it, and people be like, "You didn't think it was funny?" I was like, "I thought it was hilarious," but I just don't laugh.
You're not an LOLer.
I'm not an LOLer, okay. But with this show,
you totally like, LOL.
I totally LOL. I even turned to you and LOL to you.
That's right. You were LOLing before the camera started rolling, and that was like OMG.
And this show
You're
really,
LOLing.
this show really gets me LMFAO.
Really?
Yeah.
And that.
I can't pronounce it here on air. But,
I think our audience knows what that means.
Right, and I'm not talking about the musical rock band.
No. You mean the other stuff with a possible curse word in it. But we have a pretty savvy audience. I think they know what you're saying. AfterBuzz TV. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Make sure if you want, call into the studio. We're right now. We are at 541 Pacific Standard Time. So if you're listening to this live, give us a shout.
What was one of your favorite scenes from the shopping?
From the shopping or from the whole episode?
Well, from the shop. Let's stick on the shopping right now because there's so many like little, minute things that were going on in there.
Yeah, Mitchell and Alex scenes when they went Christmas shopping or Christmas tree shopping was pretty funny. Once again, because that's an odd pairing. We don't see the two of them. Even though they are kind of birds of a feather in terms of them being no nonsense. He's a lawyer. She is going to be whatever the hell she wants to be. Right. They're both kind of take charge, intelligent, soulful people that kind of have to suffer the rest of their family, in these kind of, they kind of think, they don't think they're above it, but, it's definitely a struggle for them sometimes to deal with. And, Mitchell sometimes has to deal with Cameron literally with kids' gloves. So there's a bit of a kind of frustration.
Did you feel she stepped in? Because when I watched it, I kind of got a sense of her kind of being a female in that role with him, her almost taking Cam's spot. Where, especially the fact when she stood up to the Christmas tree guy. That's normally Cam would do that.
Right.
And then holding, obviously, Lily and just kind of being like, whenever Mitch says something, Cam always kind of shuts him down a little bit, like, "Oh no, it's okay." I saw her doing that, so I don't know if you know. Did you get that at all?
Yeah. Well, now that you mention it, it's funny because those roles, whenever you're writing a sitcom or really any character in a comedy, you want to have the both sides, and it's always also from an acting standpoint, it's always interesting to play someone who has what seems like kind of a paradox within their character. So, for example, Cameron, who is this very swishy, girly half of a homosexual couple, he's still, he was raised on a farm and his mama, and he rode tractors, and there's this kind of almost like butch element, even though he's wearing a Christmas sweater, or he's, it's being very dainty. And again, that's always very interesting to play. So again, Alex, she is kind of the brainy kind of the brainiac who sometimes gets pushed around by her sister. But of course, we know that it's not so much that she's getting pushed around; it's that she lets her older sister take charge because she's got to let her older sister have something. Exactly. But she knows in her mind eventually she's going to rule the world, and we saw a glimpse of that when she took off her hairpiece to get the boys to give back something a few weeks ago, right? Wasn't that great?
And she was like, my dorks will your dorks will work for
my dorks. For my dorks one day. Exactly. My guys. So, it's always nice. We like to talk a lot about the writing aspect of it for any writers that might be out there. Don't make sure your characters are not one-dimensional because that's boring. It's always nice to kind of color because people are like that, right? I'm sure if we took if we looked at you and we looked at your life, there's probably 75 to 80% of it makes sense, right? Politically and philosophically, right down. Right. And then there are all these exceptions, that seem to completely contradict what you have, and nobody knows where they come from, right? Or maybe you do. Maybe like you grew up eating McDonald's, and even though you're a healthy eater, you got you crave McDonald's fries, and that's the one thing that you do, or you recycle all the time. But sometimes you like to just, throw your cigarette butts out the window, or I don't know. But these kind of contradictions where we think a character is one thing and then they surprise us and go another, that's one of the strengths I think about this show, is that we think that Phil's an idiot, or that we think that Jay is such a hard ass, and yet we have a little twist in the character, or this little exception that happens. And Gloria, I think, is probably the most obvious example of that, because we look at her and we think, she's in the show to be a sex pot, right? And she's going to be, she's going to be, she's curvy and Latin and boom, 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 and she is that somewhat, right, to comedic effect, but she's a soulful mother. and she's really, you know, she's
and gangster.
And like it just exactly right. She's not a dainty woman.
No.
She's from Colombia. Okay, so she's gonna let you know what's going on. So I think when we're watching that, that's what we're responding to. That's why we like it. It's not so one-dimensional as Married with Children. It's not so one-dimensional as The Simpsons, where we know that these guys, the dad's the loser, the daughter's the brainiac, or in the case of Married with Children, right, the daughter's the slut. You know, it's all of these things. Modern Family has these characters, but, you know, and then they fill it in nicely. And like I said, as an actor, that's a lot of fun to play. You wanna do these textured roles. You wanna play something that's not so typical and not so obvious, and not something that anybody can play. Because anybody can come in and play an idiot. Right. Anybody can come in and play the smarty pants. Anyone can play. It's when you have these exceptions. That's what character is. You know, you have these layers.
I thought it was speaking of layers, you know, usually we see Manny being the smart one, the one that would always kind of like know what to do in the situation.
Example, yeah.
And here he is with Phil, which, I mean, this was probably my favorite scene.
Yeah, you like the
oh my god, like just from like the little things, like Manny just amazes me when he says things. You know, Phil meets some guy off Craigslist, and Manny's sitting there like, what? You left me alone like things that his mother would never do, because, you know, Manny's clearly already read about, you know, killers and Craigslist. Sure. He knows about this, where Luke would be like, cool.
Right.
You know, so Manny's worried about this man that Phil's about to meet. And just the obvious things, like I would have assumed that, you know, Manny got nervous. He took the stun gun out and, you know, shocked Phil, where normally you always think Manny's a step ahead, but he has that clumsiness to him, you know, that kind of just...
Yeah.
Because if he was always that smart, I think that's where the charm would kind of go away.
Right.
But we have that goofiness to him where, oh my gosh, he would be that clumsy to shock Phil, and not be smart enough to grab the card, but rather just stare at the card and kind of watch Phil like, ooh, I still didn't mean to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and he plays it so well, because it was just like, and Phil, I mean, he's definitely my favorite character in the show, but
he was excellent with it, with the spazzes and the kind of electro.
And I said to you, I had asked you if you had been stunned by a stun gun before. The reason I didn't, I stopped the story halfway because I didn't want to like ruin the rest of the show for you. But I have had friends who have been stung before, and it's never lasted that long. But I love that the writers like kept it in the show. And he didn't go overboard with it. It was just little things towards the end where he would be like, "No, it works great." Like just little like shakes, and
sure.
Sometimes you wouldn't know if he was really doing it, but he was. I thought. I mean, that whole scene was.
And just when you think it's out of his system, that it just like it pops up for like a moment. And there was a shot there where you see Manny kind of wince in the background. Like, oh, it's still like, you know, because he thought he was in the clear.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's still reappearing. Yeah, I mean, Manny is, you know, he's a little boy. Don't let the size and the intelligence fool you. He's still, you know, however old he is on the show. So he's, you know, he's irrational, and he's impressionable, and he's, you know, he's a mama's boy. So certainly, you know, things, you know, his mind kind of gets away from him, and he, you know, he really feels things. He's a soulful kind of poet, and so he really, yeah. I mean, to see him, you know, freaking out about, you're leaving me, you're, you know. And meanwhile, it's, you know, it's more a reflection of a shelter.
Mommy wasn't there.
Mommy would have haggled, would have gotten $25 back from the guy. Would have, you know, she would have gotten $175 on the baseball card.
Exactly.
Let's go to commercial, and then we're going to come back shortly and wrap it up with some predictions.
AfterBuzz TV. Hi, I was once like you, a lazy, angry loner whose only joy was watching TV and surfing the net. And, like you, after I'd see one of my favorite TV shows, I'd be so excited and have so many questions that I'd actually have to talk to my douchebag coworkers about it at the water cooler. Then I discovered AfterBuzzTV.com. AfterBuzz TV produces after-show webcasts and podcasts for TV series of all kinds, like post-game wrap-up shows for all your favorite TV shows. AfterBuzz TV hosts are industry insiders who break down episodes of shows, take calls from fans, and interview cast and crew from each series, with over 60 different after shows, from Boardwalk Empire to American Idol to Vampire Diaries to Real Housewives and more.
Now, after a night of TV, I can ignore my stupid coworkers, who I hate, and go straight to my desk and watch or listen to all my favorite AfterBuzz TV after shows, and have all the TV fan interaction I need. Thank you, AfterBuzz TV.
AfterBuzz TV. What do you want to buzz about?
AfterBuzz TV, we are talking about Modern Family here. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, by the way, at AfterBuzz TV. And, you know, feel free to email us and let us know what you want to talk about, what kind of things about Modern Family or really any show interest you. We've got a couple of episodes left of Modern Family in the season, so we got to figure out where we think this might be going.
AfterBuzz TV.
Whoa.
AfterBuzz TV, that's right. Still,
It's going to go to AfterBuzz TV.
So now.
And now.
AfterBuzz TV. Predictions.
I think we need to add that in.
Predictions. I don't know, Jesse. What do you think is going to happen? Are we going to have like a New Year's episode, or you know? Because everybody, I like how they even wrote that into the script. How they're like, well, we're going on vacation for a few weeks.
Right. Well,
maybe a little Mexico.
They're back the first week of New Year's.
Yeah, I believe January 4th is going to be the next episode.
I don't think we'll get a New Year's episode. I think that they will play to the vacation thing. I think they'll come back fresh with a totally different type of scenario.
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting to see everyone kind of play up to what's Ed's role at a what's the name of his character?
Jay.
Jay. You know, everyone's kind of trying to win his love over, and you know, at the end of this episode, he really was. He gave in. It was the cuddly bear father of the family and got them snow. Where do I think we're going with this? I would like to see Claire and Haley build that relationship that we saw today.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked the dynamic of it. I'd like to see more episodes where that kind of plays into each other. And I want to see Luke and Manny hang out more.
Yeah, they're fun.
I kind of want Luke to influence Manny for a while, just for a little bit. And obviously Manny's not the type of person to let that happen for too long before he has a revelation. Is like, what am I doing?
Right.
I like that. And I would also like to see Mitch and the younger daughter,
Alex.
Kind of, I want this episode to stem out more because I really like the dynamic of it. You know, seeing Sophia's character with, oh my gosh, my head is everywhere right now. With Luke, that was different to me. That was so different. You would never picture them together. And I just like the matchups tonight. Whereas sometimes in the past, you know, we've had other matchups. They've been good, but I think tonight everybody mixed together, like Phil and Manny, like so random.
Right.
Why were they even put
right,
together?
Right.
But it was such great. It was amazing comedy. So I'd like to see more matching up. And that's actually what I was going to mention to you. It's funny because when the show first started, they really stuck to who was in whose family.
Right.
And now it's kind of like, which obviously we have to grow and kind of reach out to different plot points, but I like that they're taking this route, and it feels so natural. I didn't think twice as to why Luke was with her. You know, afterwards here at AfterBuzz, we have to pull it apart, but and I look at it and I respect it though. So I like the matching up. I want to see it grow from here. I want to see it continue.
Yeah, well, it seems like that's kind of their MO, right? There's some plot point that forces them to go apart and do their own thing and have their adventures and then come back together. They did it earlier this season with the helping the family episode where they had the truck, and so Cam went with the two girls. Right. So there seems to be some sort of like I don't want to say explosive, but there's an episode that happens. There's some event that the family is together, and then they must go off in pairs or threes or whatever, and then reconvene to kind of share whatever it is. And usually it goes wrong, and then there's usually a twist at the end where it doesn't go exactly as planned. Well, I'm looking at the upcoming episode guide, so I know Benjamin Bratt is going to guest star on the next one, and Philip Baker Hall, who's a character actor, and you've seen him in a bunch of stuff. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think we're going to come back to Haley approaching graduation, because I know that we're looking at colleges, so I know that might be part of it. then yeah, I'm on board with you with having Manny and Luke together, because they're a good little. They work well together. They're kind of, Luke's not that bright, but he's more of a normal kid, so he brings out that kind of normal side, and he kind of, you can sense. Here's the thing, right? His character is not that smart, but he knows how to push Manny's buttons, and he knows how Manny is lacking in the normalcy department, and so the two of them, it's going to be a lot of egging. Each one of them is going to egg the other on.
Street smart versus book smart.
What's that? Street smart. Exactly. Smart. Exactly. Which, it's we all, depending on where you fell growing up in the divide, that's what boys do when they get together. Whoever has like the strength. Last night I bartended an event. I co-bartended an event. And I worked with someone who's been working a lot of the holiday parties. So he was able to kind of take charge and be like, okay, we need this and this and this. And I've worked parties, but great, that's what happened. So now my contribution was, I had already worked at the venue, so I knew where the stuff was. So we kind of worked in tandem, and that's what, this is what guys do, is we get together and it's like, oh, okay, you like to do this, you take care of that, I'm going to take care of this.
Well, not even just guys, because I know you guys have been talking about Claire running for office.
Oh, yeah.
And I would love to see Sophia's character, I agree with you guys, come in, because that's a pair.
Right. That's
kind of always been never really, it was weird to see like Claire want her to hug her. Like you saw Claire like inching in towards her.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting if they do bring that back and make that work, because this will be the first time really we see them partnering up.
Yeah.
Claire's
I'd love to see her be the campaign
wall.
manager.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be...
That'd be great, right?
Epic.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Cool. So join us next time when we do the next episode, folks. Have a happy holidays. AfterBuzz TV. You can follow me at Cinemario, like Cinema Rio, CINEMARIO. Facebook, Twitter, all that jazz. Mario Hernandez. And by all means, tune in. Let us know what you want to talk about, what you'd like to see. You're a big part of it, and without you, we wouldn't be here. So. Modern Family for AfterBuzz TV. I am Mario Hernandez, and in the booth is DJ Jesse J. And we appreciate you coming out. We'll see you soon.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janedy, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.